Hello everyone, a very good morning to all. So this is the second video on our the last unit, that is the P block elements part 2. So here we will be discussing about the compounds of group 15. So we are um discussing about the hydrides of group 15. First one is ammonia. So ammonia, the structure of ammonia and its synthesis, we have already discussed in our previous video. So as ammonia, in case of nitrogen, in case of ammonia, nitrogen is having electronic configuration of NH2 and P3 outer electronic configuration. So here nitrogen is sp3 hybridized. So for the preparation of ammonia, it can be prepared by the treatment of ammonium chloride with sodium hydroxide. We'll get the formation of ammonia at industrial scale. Haber's process is followed. So here we are going to discuss Haber's process in detail. So here these are the features of Haber process, that there is a direct combination of nitrogen and hydrogen. It is the cheapest method to obtain ammonia. It is a reversible reaction. It is exothermic and it is accompanied by decrease in volume. So this is the Haber's process, where 1 mole of nitrogen is taken, is treated with 3 moles of hydrogen at the temperature of 400 to 550 degrees Celsius at the pressure of 200 to 900 atmosphere. Will get the formation of ammonia with the release of an energy of 93.6 kilojoule per mole. So this is the catalyst which is used as this is the thing which is used as catalyst for this Haber process, that is iron oxide, K2O and Al2O3. So the favorable conditions for the preparation of synthesis of ammonia can be understood based upon Le Chatelier's principle. Now the low temperature favors the formation of ammonia because this is exothermic reaction. Now we'll keep the temperature low. This will favor ammonia for the formation of ammonia. This will favor the forward reaction, but minimum temperature should be kept at 400 to 500, because otherwise the reaction will not take place, reaction will not proceed. The pressure is also as decrease in volume is there, so high pressure is going to favor the formation of ammonia, is going to favor the forward direction. Reaction in forward direction. So next is the concentration. Increase in concentration of nitrogen and hydrogen are going to favor the formation of ammonia, that is the forward reaction for the preparation of ammonia. Now the catalyst, or we can say the promoters, these can be used to increase the activity of the catalyst. So here the iron oxide and Al2O3, this mixture is used as catalyst. Now coming to the physical and chemical properties, ammonia is used as non-aqueous solvent. It is a very important, one of the most important non-aqueous solvents other than water. Water is an aqueous solvent. So other solvents which other than water, which is as water is a universal solvent. So solvents other than water are called as non-aqueous solvents. So ammonia is one of the most important, because large number of industrial and commercially important reactions are carried out in liquid ammonia as solvent, which otherwise are not feasible in presence of water. So this freezes to snow white crystals. It is highly soluble in water. It is colorless. It is alkaline in nature. It is basic in nature. It is lacrimatory, because whenever we open a bottle of ammonia in our lab, what will happen? That is actually ammonium hydroxide, which releases ammonia. What will happen? It will irritate our eyes, and this is lacrimatory in nature, that is tear forming nature hota hai iska. Then it is having pungent smell. It strongly hit our nose, so we have to be very careful while dealing with ammonium hydroxide, or we can say ammonia. So liquid ammonia is in the vapors form. So what a liquid ammonia is, it is intense cooling is there, which can be used in ice creams, or we can say ice cream plants for refrigeration. So whenever liquid ammonia के vapors को हम use कर सकते हैं as coolant. So next are the chemical properties. So first one is basic character. As ammonia is basic in nature, as the structure indicates, because there is a lone pair of over the nitrogen, which it can easily donate. So it is a strong base. So it is basic in nature. It will react with water to give. It is soluble in water to generate ammonium ion and hydroxide ion. So also it reacts with acids to form corresponding salts. So here is the reaction of ammonia with HCl, H2SO4 will get the formation of ammonium chloride and ammonium sulfate. Its dissociation is generally stable, but it will decompose with prolonged sparking above 500 degrees Celsius. So for its decomposition, what we'll have to do? We'll have to we'll have to treat it with prolonged sparking at 500 degrees Celsius. Then we are going to dissociate it into its constituent gases, that is nitrogen and hydrogen. In air, it is generally stable, but it burns with difficulty to give nitrogen gas. Whenever it is burnt in the presence of oxygen, we'll get the formation of nitrogen gas. However, in the presence of platinum and platinum rhodium catalyst at 800 degrees Celsius, ammonia reacts with oxygen. It produces nitric oxide gas. So these are the conditions for the production of nitric oxide gas. It is reacted with oxygen in the presence of this catalyst, that is platinum rhodium catalyst, which is further oxidized to give nitrogen peroxide. So this step is very important for the synthesis of HNO3, which we'll be discussing later on when we'll discussing about the oxy acids of nitrogen. So this is an important step for the synthesis of HNO3, which the commercial synthesis of HNO3 is called as Ostwald process. So this is one of the steps for the Ostwald process, which is important for industrially important for the production of HNO3. So it behaves as a Lewis acid. As ammonia is having a lone pair, it reacts with most of the Lewis acids to give corresponding corresponding complexes. So here the Lewis acids are the silver ion, copper ion. So here it is giving us these complexes. So these we can say here this is in laboratory we use this as a test for copper, for the presence of copper ions in solution. It gives a blue colored solution. Now this blue colored is not due to this which is a soluble, this is a soluble complex, that is copper tetramine. This is blue in color. So this copper sulfate, or we can say if we have some salt of copper, we'll treat it with ammonia. What we'll get the formation of blue color, which will indicate the formation of copper tetramine. So this is the confirmation test for the detection of copper in that particular solution. Next is the reaction with cadmium ion. With cadmium, it also forms a complex, which is again a soluble one. So these silver excess ammonia to give complexes. So yes, so these salts are also, which are not soluble in general, these get solubilized in liquid ammonia due to the formation of these complexes. So liquid ammonia is also used as a non-aqueous solvent, as I have mentioned earlier. That and self-ionization reaction for liquid ammonia is this. Its cation characteristic is ammonium ion and its anion characteristic is amide ion. So as this is the auto-ionization reaction for water, where cation characteristic is H3O positive and anion characteristic is OH negative. Now coming to the uses, it is used for the synthesis of HNO3. As I have discussed, it is an important part of the Ostwald reaction, important reactant which is used for the Ostwald reaction. It is widely used as non-aqueous solvent. It is widely used as refrigerant, and it is also used for making fertilizer. So this ammonia is highly useful in many industries. Next compound of nitrogen, which we are going to discuss in detail, is hydrazine. The formula is N2H4. It is prepared from ammonia only. It is prepared from ammonia by replacing one of the hydrogen with NH2 group. So this is the method which is used for the preparation of hydrazine, that is Raschig's method. And it was proposed by Raschig in 1907. It is used both commercially and at laboratory scale. So what we do is we treat ammonia with sodium oxychloride in the presence of aqueous alkali and small amount of glue and gelatin, which act as catalyst also, and some it keeps the reaction going in the forward direction. It makes the it helps to avoid the formation of byproducts. So from here we get the formation of hydrazine. Actually this reaction occurs in two steps. Here is a detailed reaction. What will happen? Firstly, ammonia is going to react with sodium hypochlorite or sodium oxychloride. We'll get the formation of NaOH and chloramine. Now this chloramine is going to react further with ammonia in the presence of aqueous alkali. We'll get the formation of N2H4. Here this N2H4 is obtained, that is hydrogen is obtained. Now undesirable rapid reaction is also there, an undesirable reaction, that is when this uh, chloramine is obtained, it has tendency to react with this N2H4, which is our product hydrogen. So this will consume this hydrogen obtained and lower down the yield of the hydrogen formed. So it reacts to give back ammonium chloride. So to avoid this reaction can be avoided, or this reaction can be suppressed by the presence of glue or gelatin. Also, these two things act as catalyst in the first two reactions, and this suppresses the undesirable third reaction which we have discussed. So these two steps are catalyzed by these two entities, and the undesirable one is suppressed by these two entities. So this is how this glue and gelatin are useful for this reaction. Now coming to the physical properties of hydrogen, it is colorless fuming liquid with faint ammoniacal odor. It is soluble in water and as well as alcohol. It melts at 2 degrees Celsius. It is hygroscopic and resembles to water in many of its properties. Now coming to the chemical properties, its formula is N2H4. It is stable compound, but heat of formation is positive. It requires energy for its formation. So N2H4 burns in air with the evolution of large amount of heat. So this is the burning reaction for N2H4, that is hydrogen. It will obtain nitrogen, and it is highly exothermic with the production of minus 621 kilojoule per mole of energy is obtained after burning of N2H4. So this reaction is very important from the point of view that this reaction is a potential candidate for rocket fuels, as it is producing large amount of energy. And also the products which are obtained are very much manageable, that is, it is just nitrogen and hydrogen, which nitrogen and water, which can be easily handled. So that is why this reaction is important from the point of view of potential candidates. They are potential candidates for rocket fuels. Now the basic character, it is a diacidic base. By diacidic base means it will react with 2 moles of acid to give the corresponding salt. So this is the reaction with HCl. It is reacting with 2 moles of HCl. So it also reacts with sodium, that is alkali metals, to produce hydrogen gas. So whenever it reacts with 2 moles of sodium, what it will give us hydrogen gas, and the nitrogen is going to replace the position of hydrogen there. So next we have, it reacts with nitrous acid to give hydrozoic acid. This is an important reaction again for the synthesis of hydrozoic acid, which is HN3. So it reacts with nitrous acid to give hydrozoic acid, and 2H4 plus HNO2 gives H2O plus HN3. So it acts as a powerful reducing agent. Now we'll be discussing many reactions for its reducing action. So it can reduce salts of platinum, gold, silver. So we can extract these metals using hydrogen as reducing agents from the corresponding salts. This can reduce failing solution to red cuprous oxide. So this can be used as it can reduce this. So it converts this failing solution to red cuprous oxide. It can convert FeCl3 to FeCl2. Whenever there is something which can easily oxidize, it will act as reducing agent there. It can also reduce iodates to iodide. Here iodine is in +5 oxidation state, and it is reducing it from +5 to +1. Halogens to halogen A6, from 0 to -1. Again, reduction is there. In the reducing action of hydrogen, it itself gets oxidized to nitrogen. So here, this is the reducing action. In all the reducing reactions, it itself is getting oxidized to nitrogen. Now coming to its structure. So its structure is quite unsymmetrical. This is the kind of structure it exhibits. It resembles to some extent to that of hydrogen peroxide. 2 nitrogens are directly bonded, and 4 hydrogens are there at these angles. So this is the kind of structure it has. Next we have hydrozoic acid. Now the hydrozoic acid, for its preparation, it is done from sodamide. for its preparation, what we do is we prepare sodamide first by passing ammonia over heated sodium. We'll get the formation of sodamide from here. After that, the sodamide, when all the hydrogen is released and this first reaction is complete, this sodamide is made to react with by passing current of N2O, that is nitrous oxide, is passed over it at 190 degrees Celsius. Will get the formation of corresponding sodium azide. So this sodium azide is further heated with 50% H2SO4 to give hydrozoic acid. So this is the preparation for hydrozoic acid. Also, this hydrozoic acid can be prepared from hydrogen. This we have already discussed, that how it can be prepared from hydrogen. Now coming to the physical properties, it is low boiling with boiling point of 37 degrees Celsius. It is colorless liquid. It is having unpleasant odor. It is highly explosive and toxic. Now this is acid, as so we'll discuss its acidic character. It is a weak acid, just like acetic acid. This is the dissociation reaction. Here it can generate H positive and the corresponding anion is the azide ion. So it forms salts with alkalis and active metals to release nitrogen gas. So this is how it reacts. It reacts with NaOH to give so corresponding sodium azide and will get H2O. It will react with copper, will get copper azide, and nitrogen and ammonia are going to be released. So alkali metal azides are not explosive, which are obtained here. These are not explosive. These will decompose to give nitrogen when heated. So azides of heavy metals are used as detonation caps because of their explosive nature. The azides of heavy metals are explosive, but alkali metal azides are not explosive at all. So these are used as detonation caps in explosives. Now the oxidation and reduction of hydrozoic acid, it can be reduced to ammonia or hydrogen using reducing agents like platinum hydrogen. We can use this as a reducing agent. We can reduce it to corresponding ammonia and hydrogen, and it can be oxidized to nitrogen using different oxidizing agents, just like cerium and KMnO4. This is the structure. So here, this is the linear chain of nitrogen, where 3 nitrogens are directly bonded and 2 end hydrogen is there. One of the end hydrogen is bonded. The bond angle is 112 degree. So this is gaseous in nature. These are the 3 resonating structures, and the actual structure is resonance hybrid of these 3. Now, next compound which we are going to discuss is phosphine. Phosphine is very much, its structure we have already discussed. It is very much similar to that of ammonia, where the only difference is that the lone pair is not present in the sp3 hybridized orbitals, because sp3 hybridization does not take place at all. The bond angle is almost near to 90 degree, not to the tetrahedral bond angle. The structure we have already discussed. Now coming to the physical properties, it is colorless, highly poisonous gas with unpleasant smell. Its chemical properties includes it gives precipitation reaction. So when it is passed through some metallic salt solution, phosphides are the compounds which are precipitate out are the phosphides. So copper sulfate, this is a salt, its solution will react it with phosphine, will get the formation of cupric phosphide and H2SO4. So this is a black colored compound which is important for the precipitation of phosphides. We can treat some salts with phosphine. Silver nitrate is treated with phosphine, will get black silver phosphide. Now this black colored silver phosphide is further treated with AgNO3 and will get from here pure silver. So this is the reaction which is widely used for the preparation of silver. So from here pure silver can be extracted. Now coming to the uses of phosphine. Phosphine is very useful. It is used for preparing home signals. So what are these home signals? So these signals are used for the ships in sea to locate large rocks present in the sea. What they do is they take a mixture of calcium phosphide and calcium carbide. They take it in a vessel with a hole. So whenever we throw this vessel into the water, reaction is going to take place with calcium phosphide is going to react with hydrogen, and their phosphine is going to be released, and this calcium carbide will react with water to produce acetylene gas. So this phosphine catches fire very easily, and this will further light up acetylene, and there will be a huge light is going to produce in the middle of the sea, and they will be able to the ships will be able to locate the rocks present in their way. So this is how they this mixture is used as Herm signal, as the scientist was the Herms which who uh, actually used these or invented this type of thing. So that is why the name is Herm signal. So to phosphine is also used to prepare smoke screen for warfare. So phosphine is very it burns with smoke, huge, it produces huge amount of smoke. So this is used as smoke screens. Now the next compound is diphosphine. So it is very much similar to hydrazine. It is formed as impurity along with the phosphine. It is separated by passing the gaseous mixture of phosphine and diphosphine through a freezing mixture, and it is condensed there because it is more condensable than the phosphine. So it is highly inflammable. It causes explosion with air. So what reaction is going to take place? This is the diphosphine. It will give us phosphorus and phosphine, and this phosphine further this is used for the it further oxidized to give produce P2O5. This is the important oxide of phosphorus. So just like hydrogen, it can also act as a reducing agent. So it reacts with oxygen, it gets converted to phosphorus, and it will produce water. And this is the structure. It is almost similar to that of hydrogen. So that is it for the hydrides of group 15. In the next video, we'll be starting with the oxides of group 15 elements. So that is it for this video. Thank you so much. Have a good rest of the day.